In 1960s, Tasik Chini was a piece of paradise on the earth. To get to it, you would pass to untouched rainforests, where the majestic trees with unbroken canopies combined to a truly amazing sight. Also, from May to October, the lake was covered with pink blooms of the lotus Nilombo nucifera. It's an important natural wetland ecosystem, as its presence reducing the frequency, level, and velocity of flood and riverbank erosions. Wetlands act as natural sponges that absorb floodwater and helps to protect surrounding areas from flood damage. In addition to that, the surrounding forest offers wood, medical plants, and fruits, while the lake offers variety of fishes. Tasik Chini is the land of Orang Asli community, where they live together in various villages around the lake in harmony with its ecosystem, rich in natural and cultural assets. While the lake divided naturally to 12 water bodies, its biodiversity contains outstanding species of flora and fauna, including trees, medical plants, 583 timber species, 148 species of birds, and 39 species of freshwater fishes. Some of them cannot be found anywhere else. And that diversity of flora and fauna gives Tasik Chini national and international conservation value. Rapid economic development has several effects for 45 years. Logging, plantation, and mining activities have resulted in significant land use change within the catchment area of the lake. Logging has destroyed the primary forest area, so forest covered Chini catchment declined from 5,270 hectares in 1984 to 4,410 hectares in 2002. Convert a primary forest to a secondary forest began before 1990, with 60% of the catchment area already logged. The conversion of the forest to monocrop plantation, mainly oil palm, has rapidly affected the lake ecosystem. Pesticides, chemicals, and fertilizers have contaminated the lake. The increase in phosphate concentration is attributed to runoff from agriculture areas. Because of the construction of the water dam, the water is stagnant and all the junk are trapped in the lake. The water level of the lake did rise, and this has changed the ecosystem of Tasik Chini from a semi-flowing to a still water system. The lotus has replaced with non-native plants, and it's not covered more than 5% from the lake area. In addition to lotus tourists' attraction role, it's considered as food source for locals. Diseased and inedible fish is a result of water pollution by nitrogen and various gases. Mining activities caused the mud flow into the lake and changed the water quality. Water is no longer suitable for domestic consumption, washing, and swimming. For locals, there are no more sources of income except to tap rubber. The mining companies provided hoses to channel clean water to the villages, but they just left the hoses at the village where they remain untouched. So there is no access to clean water. The absence of environmental impact studies about these developing activities, and the lack of the consultations of the Orang Asli community before initiating mining and logging. All these resulted land, lake, and nature lost. Malaysia's second largest freshwater lake, Tasik Chini, in Pahang, is at risk of losing its biosphere reserve status according by UNESCO in 1996. So, continuous solutions from the government has been taken aiming to save Tasik Chini. Some of them are: in 2010, a report by UKM revealed that the ecosystem of Tasik Chini was in critical and dying situation, prompting Transparency International Malaysia with several civil society partners to embark on a national campaign to save the lake. How many more alarm bells must go off before action is taken? In 2019, the alarm bell sounded again over its bleak future. This time around, it was former 2KM Tasik Chini Research Center Director Professor Datuk Siri Dr. Mushrifa Idris said that extensive land clearing and mining may cost the lake and the country dearly. She lamented that past attempts to address the issue had fallen on deaf ears. Dr. Mushrifa added that land clearing for development and mining must be done systematically and followed up with rehabilitation. There had been suggestions to establish a body to manage Tasik Chini, but they continue to remain ideas. In 2020, Tasik Chini is likely to be deployed as a state park and forest reserve to make it a recreational destination of choice for both local and foreign tourists. Pahang Tourism, Culture, Environment, Plantations and Commodities Committee Chairman Datuk Seri Muhammad Shakir Shamsuddin said during a press conference after launching the state-level 2020 National Environmental Day celebration program at UKM Chini Lake Research Center. Therefore, the state government would stop all mining and logging activities around Tasik Chini to enable the rehabilitation process to take place. And the State Executive Council also agreed for Tasik Chini to be as a permanent forest reserve. Then he added, steps to recovery this area needed to be taken so that the future generation can still enjoy the beauty of nature in healthy conditions, free from logging and mining activities. This effort, which begins now, will enable Tasik Chini to recover within the next 10 to 20 years. The initiative to restore the lake began in March 2019, when Pahang Military Bursar Datuk Seri Wan Rusdi Wan Ismail announced that the State Executive Council has agreed to recover 404,098 hectares of the lake as a permanent forest reserve. And to address the mining problem there, the state government had also drawn up a special policy for mining activities, which, among others, would not approve new mining leased in the area around Tasik Chini. Faster technique to restore the native forest is to implement Miyawaki technique, where forests are created by planting native species very close together. They grow 10 times faster than conventional forests. generate 100 times more biodiversity and store 40 times more CO2. Density is the key. With wide varieties of native species are required to recreate the layers of the local natural forest. While various native species of plants are planted close to each other, so that the plants receive sunlight only from the top and grow upward instead of sideways. As a result, the plantation becomes 30 times denser, grows 10 times faster, and becomes maintenance-free after a span of 3 years. And this attracts local pollinators, snails, and amphibians. The Miyawaki method of forestation was pioneered by a Japanese botanist named Akira Miyawaki. He set about planting 170 forests throughout Asia and the world. Now, the idea is catching on in Europe as well. For example, tropical forest regeneration project in Malaysia was done using Miyawaki method, where 50 hectares of land has been transformed into vigorous forest. The site chosen for the project is in Malaysia, Sarawak state. The priority was to gather seeds, especially those of the Dipterocarpiaceae trees, that would become the primary timber of the forest. Over the next 4 years, about 500,000 seedlings of 92 species were cultivated. In addition to Miyawaki method ecological impact, it plays another humanity role by empower hungry families and permanently increase the income of impoverished families. On the other hand, it would be more logically if the billions of ringgit that spent to rejuvenate River of Life in Kuala Lumpur wisely used to survive Tasik Chini, with suitable water filtration stages to achieve clean and clear water bodies that could be used for daily domestic consumption. Control water level to give lotus a chance to emerge and shine again, and prepare suitable conditions to attract various fish species again. To wrap up, while Orang Asli people admire their land, look at the pain in their eyes. They said, "We are unsatisfied of this situation," but their impact considered not strong enough, because they don't have knowledge power to stop the lotus massacre, for instance. The Malaysian government do not hesitate to find solutions as mentioned before, and still try to save Tasik Chini, but unfortunately, none of the solutions worked effectively, and the question is why. I believe that the strategy should turn upside down, and a new way of thinking needed here. No more parallel lines between government efforts and Orang Asli community. To see results, those two lines should cross together. Simply, native problem could not be solved by exotic experts. Knowledge revolution is the core of the issue. By empower Orang Asli young generation with knowledge, the solutions and further development plans will emerge from inside, as they are the target group, and no one will know their land better than them. A cooperation between government and Orang Asli people absolutely will come with practical, effective, long-lasting solutions to see Tasik Chini vibrant and alive as before. This national treasure and heritage is an inheritance better than money. It cannot be stolen if we strive to preserve it. However, it can be lost or forgotten by the choices that we make. Thank you.